Hello everyone, my name is Calvin, and today we are going to be taking a look at all the new features announced at Minecon Live 2021. This Minecraft revealed the next update, announced which mob won the mob vote, and so much more. And today, in this video, I'm going to be going over this, giving my thoughts on all the new items and things, and then I'm going to be ranking them on this ginormous calcite wall behind me. Okay, I hope you enjoy, and let's go! Now, this update is quite it's not as large as the Nether update or Caves and Cliffs, but it ain't the Bees update. Let me tell you that. And so with this update, we are going to start where basically they started, the Deep Dark. Now, as you know, as the Deep Dark, it's supposed to be this very frightening looking place with the new Warden, new Skulk things, and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to be a huge fan of the Deep Dark since, it's scary. I don't like being scared. But anyway, here's all the new information we got. As you can see in this clip here, the new Skulk Catalyst item, when you kill a mob next to it, it will convert the blocks on the ground around it into new Skulk items. And depending, as appeared as what they said in the trailer, it'll change the block depending on how much experience the mob drops. And so one time it drops just a Skulk block, Skulk vein, and Skulk sensor. But this actually makes it, and so maybe Skulk sensors aren't going to be that hard to get. All it appeared to be, though, is that you did need to use a Silk Touch hoe, which, I guess is interesting. But they did show, which actually really interested me, is if you notice, when whoever killed that zombie, they got the experience from the zombie, and then it converted the block, and when they broke the block with a non-Silk Touch hoe, they still got more experience. Does that mean you can basically double your experience? Or do you get more experience? Is this fair? I don't know. It sounds pretty cool to me, though. But anyway, moving on to that, we get the Warden mob, which the Warden mob, let's just say, it's probably the most frightening mob in the game. Now, the thing I'm really interested in, this. Now, the Skulk Castles, the Deep Castles, I don't really know what they're calling it yet, but the Forgotten Fortresses, I don't know. It looks amazing what they're doing. Like a castle underground? How? Why? It just gives me so many questions. I'm very excited for this new underground structure. Maybe the Deep Dark will be less like a biome and more like a structure. But so far what they've said is that it will be more like a biome. So we'll have to see about that. And now this update does seem to be pretty much split into two things. We have the Skulk things, the underground, and then we have the swamp things. Now, if you remember, a couple years ago there was a biome vote, and we got to choose between the swamp and the mountain and a couple other biomes, but the mountain won. And boy, oh boy, am I glad the mountain won. But it's so cool because now we get the swamp biome, all the features that were coming in the swamp biome. And so the first thing we get is the mangrove trees. Now, as you can see in this picture here, the mangrove trees look so cool. And guess what? They have a new wood type. It can't get much better than that. Adding new wood types in the game is always really, really cool. Especially for me, who is a builder and really loves variety of blocks, and I can't wait for this new wood type. And where the mangroves respawn, there will be a new biome, the mangrove swamp. Which brings us on to our next big thing coming in this update, is the mud. There will now be mud in Minecraft, and it will spawn on the ground in the mangrove swamp. Now, how do you make the mud? Well, it's pretty simple. You just get a water bottle, and you get a dirt block. And what you do is you're just going to use the water bottle on the dirt block. You can't do it now because we are obviously not in the wild update. But it will turn into mud. And now what makes this especially very, very exciting is the next two things and this thing right here. Say, okay, we don't have mud in the game yet, but say this mycelium is the mud. The mycelium, when you put it on dripstone, it'll leak out the water from the mud, and then this will turn into a clay block, making clay actually renewable. Or dirt isn't technically renewable without gravel, but it makes clay way better to get. Now, okay, I'm going to skip over a couple just to get to this real quick. We have the clay bricks, which, you know me. If you do know me, I always fancy a new brick into the game. Like, to be honest with you, if they could just add a brick of pretty much everything, like the dripstone behind us, that's actually what I think this clay brick is going to look like a lot, is kind of like if dripstone had like clay, like a brick version, excuse me. So if Dripstone had a brick version. And now back to the things I skipped for. We're getting frogs to the game. I mean, if that doesn't excite you, I don't know what does. Frogs are just so interesting. Frogs sound, they're going to be spawning in these new swamp biomes, the mangrove swamp, and I believe the normal swamp, as they showed in the trailer. And basically what the frogs are going to do is they're just going to hop around, be happy. But they get really interesting when you breed them. When you breed them, instead of having baby frogs, we get tadpoles. And tadpoles are kind of like, and if you know what tadpoles are in real life, then it pretty much is the exact same thing. It's the baby variant frog that eventually will grow up and then turn into an adult frog. Now, when I first saw these, I thought, what are those? And this is the Fireflies. Now, if you know what a Firefly is in real life, I mean, you pretty much get the gist of it. It's just these little bugs that glow every once in a while. They're also called lightning bugs. But they're these bugs that just, their butt kind of like lights up frequently. Quote me on that. But that's what Fireflies do, is they just go around. And when I saw it, I was like, oh no, it looks like a particle effect. And I was worried a new mob in the game would turn into a particle effect. But after the next couple clips, they did confirm it will actually be a mob, as they show frogs eating them with their absolutely terrible AI. But I can't blame them, because the frogs have probably not been in development for that long. And so yeah, Fireflies are coming to the game. That's really exciting. And the boat and chest. Now, if you remember from the swamp vote, this is what lost, but in favor of the goat. And it basically looks like just a boat that you can ride in. It doesn't look like two people can ride in it, and you can have a chest on it. It just sounds extremely useful, especially with the new rivers in 1.18. Now this one, they didn't really talk about too much. The Birch Forest appears to be taking a revamp with mushrooms on the side. My guess is that they're going to be doing this for many, many biomes. Maybe giving them just a really cool ambience, but just looking at this painting, I mean, come on. Doesn't that just make you want to tear up? It's so beautiful. I can't wait for something like this to be in the game. And now, last but not least, if you know, there was a mob vote. Now, a lot of people wanted the copper golem. And so sadly, just kidding, the copper golem was terrible. Here we go, we got the LA. Oh my goodness, I cannot wait for the LA to be in Minecraft. It is probably one of my favorite things in this entire update. Like, besides maybe the clay bricks, and maybe the mangrove tree, and maybe the beautiful ambience. I mean, it's just everything in this new update, the wild update. It's amazing, but look at it. The LA, the flying hopper. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Yes, I know. Don't spam the comments with "it doesn't duplicate items," Cat Elf Man. Are you sure you want to deal it? Yeah, I know it doesn't duplicate items. It still is really useful nonetheless. A lot more useful than a randomizer that walks around, just saying. And there you have it. There's my thoughts on 1.19, the wild update. And if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!